back to Football Picks at TalkingSports.tv, along with Handsome Howard Kamen of Charlie Fitz Whiskies, Uncle Ben of UncleBen'sFootball.com. I'm Marty York, and it's time for the Handicappers' top picks of the week. This is where you really want to pay attention, folks, because if you're listening to their top picks, you're making money. You're making money this year. And Handsome Howard, there is a game where you and Ben are differing this week. This is unusual in terms of your top picks. I mean, you guys definitely have differences of views on your handicapping each week, but on your top picks, seldom do you differ, but you are in this case. The San Francisco 49ers are in Tennessee. They are 4-point favorites in Tennessee. You like the Titans. Why?
Well, my philosophy a lot of times in football is take the home dogs, where I see an opportunity for them where they can actually win the game. I think the San Francisco 49ers are the superior team. They're definitely, they've proved it over the last few weeks, looking very good. But, you know, when a team like that comes off two home games, comes to the road, and faces a team like Tennessee where, let's face it, the public's going to be all over San Francisco in that game. They're going to be laying it in big time for San Francisco, and Ben will probably explain why they're going to be laying it in big for San Francisco. I could see Tennessee keeping this game really close based on their defense. Yeah, they don't have a star quarterback there anymore. I think they're going with an ex-Buffalo Bill Fitzpatrick, who a lot of people don't like. But I could see Tennessee keeping this game very close and it maybe being decided by a field goal the other way. So I'm going to take the 4 points there. Take the Tennessee Titans, hoping it's a close game at home, Tennessee.
Ben.
Well, I'm going to have to disagree with Howard vehemently on this game, okay? I don't see anything like that happen. I think the Tennessee Titans started out a little strong. Jake Locker had it going.
Yes, he did.
But now Jake Locker's out with a hip injury indefinitely, and now they have Ryan, I'm a deer in headlights, Fitzpatrick at the helm. I don't say good luck with that is what I say. Okay, I see that the best thing that happened to the San Francisco 49ers, I've said this the last 2 weeks, were those two blowout losses in week 2 and 3. Since then, they're 3-0 straight up, 3-0 against the spread. They seem to getting a little more comfortable. Interesting, though, that they've scored now, after scoring 10 points in those first 2 weeks, they've scored 30 points in each of the last 3 games, San Francisco 49ers. And I don't see the San Francisco 49ers losing this game to Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Tennessee Titans.
Let me ask you a question,
by the way, one thing I do want to say is the Titans didn't score an offensive touchdown last week. Their one touchdown came on a missed extra point run back for a touchdown. Very rare scoring play in the NFL. And interesting also, guys, teams after they play the Seattle Seahawks this year are 0-4 straight up and against the spread. The theory there is that the Seattle Seahawks beat the heck out of you. It takes you more than a week to recover. And they're playing against a very physical team in the San Francisco 49ers as well this week. And with a noodle arm quarterback like Ryan Fitzpatrick and a running back like Chris Johnson who doesn't like to get hit at all. San Francisco does a lot of hitting, by the way. I just say that I don't see the San Francisco 49ers losing this game. Winners cover the spread 83.3% of the time this year. I like the San Francisco 49ers to win this game and cover the spread easily.
Okay, let me ask you this though, Ben, because you do base a lot of your handicapping on the line. Okay, now I agree with everything you said, and on paper, San Francisco looks like a touchdown point favorite. Why did the bookmakers make it so enticing for all the action? And if you look at the public's action that's going on in San Francisco, don't you think that the bookmakers here in Vegas are saying, hey, give us the San Francisco action?
A fish spread.
I don't think it's a fish spread. The public action is only running about 64% so far. Okay, it's, the game hasn't been played yet.
Week 7.
Week 7, the game hasn't been played yet. But I just think the San Francisco 49ers are going to win this game. The Tennessee Titans are on the way down. The San Francisco 49ers are on the way up. I like the winners cover. I just think the Niners are going to win. I don't agree with the public. More public action will be on San Francisco here, sure, but not an overwhelming amount of public action I don't see, no.
I wish I could give us a deciding vote, but I hate this game. I can't even look at this game. I have no opinion on it. I think it's going to be a very difficult game, but listen, Ben says take San Francisco, lay the points. Handsome Howard says take Tennessee, get the points at home. You make the decision.
Yeah, I just think the Niners are going to steamroll them. I do.
Well, Ben doesn't say that often, so keep that in mind too. Now, you both agree that the Washington Redskins are a good, strong pick at home against the visiting Chicago Bears. We've established why in the previous segment.
Well,
but you want to talk about it again?
Well, it's just that the bookmakers are telling you something here, okay? This spread is way out of line. There's a 4-2 team playing a 1-4 team. The 1-4 team, like you said, got blown out by 14 points or 17 points last Sunday night. Something's not right here. The bookmakers want the Chicago action in this game for sure.
Okay.
I say don't give it to them. Take the Washington Redskins.
There's an interesting game, I think, in Detroit this weekend. Who do you like?
Well,
the Bengals are
the
visiting.
Bengals, like I said earlier in the earlier segment, okay? They're 4-2, the Bengals, but they haven't really beaten a lot of good teams, okay? I mean, they lost to Chicago first week of the year. They beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. They did beat the Green Bay Packers, but they were kind of lucky to win. The Green Bay sort of handed that game to them. I don't know if you guys saw that game.
Yeah,
There were some fumbles that went back for touchdowns.
We see every game.
Okay, and they're playing on the road. They've lost to Chicago on the road. They lost to Cleveland on the road. They were life and death to beat the Buffalo Bills last week with a third-string quarterback. Now they're going back out on the road to play Detroit. Detroit's tied for the NFC North, so the fans are going to be wild there. They're 2-0 at home in the Dome, the Detroit Lions. It's going to be a noisy place. Andy Dalton really hasn't delivered. You know, like he was at TCU.
he's better
he
last
was a
year.
great quarterback at TCU, and he won a ton of ball games at TCU. But he's not winning those big ball games with the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's not putting up high numbers. I think last week was the first time he threw a touchdown pass in 2 weeks, and I just think it's going to be noisy. He's going to have trouble putting up audibles in that stadium. There's going to be Detroit's a big physical team up front. They are. They've got a great defensive line.
Sue.
Okay, they got a very physical offensive line, and I just think the Detroit Lions are going to win this game before they go out and play the Dallas Cowboys next week, and then 2 games on the road after that. I like the Detroit Lions here at home, -2 to win this ball game and keep themselves in first place in the NFC North.
Well, I like the Lions as well. I think the Lions are a good pick. Howard, you're liking a team that at the beginning of the year you didn't like very much, but the New York Jets have been semi-respectable. Have they surprised you?
Well, I more so like the fact that I think anytime New England is a favorite on the road this year, I would go against them. They're basing it on past performance on the New England Patriots. They know the public is on that team, and as far as I'm concerned, besides Tom Brady, New England is a very, very average football team. They are not a star-studded football team, both on offense and defense, like in prior years. They're well coached, they have a great quarterback, and that's where it ends with the New England Patriots. So taking them against anybody where I'm getting points on the road against the New England Patriots, a New York Jets team, which is a huge rival to England. They always get up for those games. They threw in a real stinker last week against Pittsburgh at home, so they're going to be out to impress their fans. You're getting 4.5 points. The line's been moving from 4 to 4.5 all week. I can just see that game being a field goal game either way as well. I think the Jets will keep it close, and that's why I like the New York Jets at home plus the 4.5 against a team that New England I think is very highly overrated this year.
I'm with you. I think New England's highly overrated, but look what they did last week. They'll be flying high. I don't know.
Well, a lot of times though, you come off a victory like that, and it kind of deflates you the following. Like, how do you reach that high again? Like you had last week. They were flying. If they would have played the next day, they would have been on cloud 9. But you know what? An emotional high game like that, sometimes you have a little bit of a letdown the following week, especially on the road.
Mm-hmm.
I think they came out flying last week too, because the week before they were in Cincinnati and they got held to 6 points, and it was the first time in many, many, many games that
That's why we love New
Tom
England
Brady
last
did
year.
not score
Yeah.
a touchdown. That's one of the reasons why we did like New England last week. But the interesting thing about this game, this is the #1 consensus betting game of the week, Howard. And
Everybody's
we love
on
it.
New England.
84% of the action right now is coming in on the New England Patriots. If you like the New England Patriots, you better get your bet down yesterday, okay? Because the spread's already gone up 1.5. And by game time, it's probably going to be 6.5, 7 points, like Howard mentioned.
Yeah.
The Jets threw out a stinker last week. They looked horrible. and New England looked tremendous. They've never looked better this year than they did last week. Something's not right in this game. The spread's only 4 points. Everybody likes to bet New England to begin with, the public we're talking about, as evidenced by 84% already, guys. And I just say, buyer beware, the New England Patriots this week. And the Jets always seem to play tough.
They do.
Against the New England
They
Patriots.
do. They
not
always
one of
keep
my
it close.
selections, but
Miami does too against New England. I don't
not
know
one
why.
of my selections.
Everybody gets up against New England. They're a type of team that
yeah.
you want to beat because of Brady,
Well,
because of their history.
These teams play twice a year. They don't like each other very much. I believe they played second week. The score was 13-10. Okay, chances are this would be a high-scoring game because typically when division teams play a low-scoring game one time, the next game tends to be a lot higher scoring. You know, maybe they know a little bit about each other. They look at the films. I don't really like this game, but one thing I do know is I certainly wouldn't bet New England with 84% of the public on that team.
Well, you talked me into it. I think the Jets are the play on that game. For what it's worth, guys, I'm loving a game this week. I love the Philadelphia Eagles, and I will lay the 3 points against the visiting Dallas Cowboys. I think the Eagles lay a pasting on the Cowboys this week. And I think Nick Foles is turning out to be yet another one of those good graduate quarterbacks from last year's draft. When he first came in, I wasn't all that impressed with him. He looked solid. Now, it was only Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay doesn't have that bad a defense. And he looked solid. He runs that Chip Kelly offense pretty well. Those guys were making catches for him. He was getting good protection from a decent offensive line. I think that the Cowboys are going to be without both DeMarcus Murray and DeMarcus Ware. I think they're in for a long day, and I think the Eagles absolutely thump the Cowboys in this game. Am I out of my mind?
I like Philadelphia there as well, only because I'm still not sold on the Dallas Cowboys. I think they're an overrated team. I think at the end of the season they'll finish around 500. Philadelphia is on the upswing. I mean, kudos to them to going into Tampa last week. I actually liked Tampa in that game. And every time Tampa looked like they were going to make a move on Philly, Philly came right back and ended up putting them away. So the Eagles are a much different team than they were last year. And if I had to pick a team in that game, I would go with Philadelphia as well.
They scored 31 points.
I happen to like the Philadelphia Eagles myself, Marty. First of all, Nick Foles was drafted. He came out of Arizona. He was drafted not this past season, but the year before. He did play some last year. You won't see Michael Vick quartering the Philadelphia Eagles anymore this year. As a matter of fact, I don't think you'll see Michael Vick quartering anybody ever again, in my opinion. Okay, I never liked Michael Vick. He's never been a good quarterback in the NFL. He hasn't won a big game since I think it was grade 8.
No, since Virginia Tech.
Well, he didn't really take them to the promised land either. But Michael Vick's done, as far as I'm concerned. It's going to be now Nick Foles, but the eventual quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles is going to be Matt Barkley. That's who it's really going to be.
Think so?
Oh, totally. Not this year, but in the future. Chip Kelly's just,
I don't like Matt Barkley. I never liked him at USC.
Well, Matt Barkley's going to be their quarterback, I would say.
Well,
I do like the Philadelphia Eagles here. Like Howard said, I'm not impressed with the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys played their best game of the season 2 weeks ago against the Denver Broncos, and they lost, by the way. Their defense is not very good. They gave up close to 500 yards last week against Washington. Don't be deceived. They won that game by 17 points. I like the Philadelphia Eagles this week to win and win large too, Marty.
All right, so there you go, folks. We'll wrap up the top picks for both Uncle Ben Walderman and Handsome Howard Kamen. Handsome Howard is saying take Tennessee plus the 4 points. Take the New York Jets plus the 6.5 against New England. Is it 6.5?
Right now it's around 4.5, 5, but it probably will go up to 6, 6.5.
Okay, it might be 6, 6.5.
Wait late. Wait till the last minute to bet the Jets.
All right, and then also take Washington at Pick'em. Uncle Ben is saying opposite to Handsome Howard about the Tennessee game. Take San Francisco, lay those 4 points, and do not worry, he says. Take Detroit minus the 3 over Seattle. Over Cincinnati. I don't know why I wrote down Seattle. And I like that one as well, for what it's worth. I like Detroit laying the 3. And also, Uncle Ben is strongly suggesting that you place a shekel or 2 on the Washington Redskins. That's it for our NFL picks this week. We're going to let Handsome Howard take off. But Uncle Ben and I return for NCAA picks. And Uncle Ben's been on fire with these picks. So don't you dare go away. Handsome, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Best of luck this weekend.